Hello and welcome to another episode of the Game of Thrones podcast. It's going to be another exciting episode. We've got a lot to get through. We've got three great guests on the line. So we've got me here, dialing in from home. We've got the new reformed team managed by Binesh. And we've also got Sham in the room who's playing it down, but I'm sure he's going to come to life sooner or later. So let's
Round 3 champion.
There you go, he's started already. Okay, so there's a lot to get through. So there's 2 rounds of games to get through and predictions for the next game, which comes up this weekend.
Wow, a lot to cover.
A lot to cover. Okay, so we're going to start with, is it game week 14?
Yep.
So start with game week 14. So the first game on the list is a highly anticipated game. There's lots of fireworks going on in that game. It was between SnowFC and Egg Fried Reus. That one finished with a marginal 8 points difference. Sham picked up the win there, winning 56-48.
Ooh,
yeah,
that was a close one.
To be honest, we looked when we predicted this one. Myself, Dan, and Abu, all three went in favour of Sham winning that game. So, you know, I think that's one of the first times I've ever predicted for my team to lose. So I could see it coming. Sham built a really good, strong team. Lots of loanees coming in.
How is 2 definition?
Sorry, when I say lots, I'm talking about the points that they gathered for you. And yeah, Sham took that one. How happy are you with that win, Sham?
Very, very happy. I'd love to talk crap about John's team. I take every opportunity to do so. But I mean, you never know where John's little team can do and can do really, because I look at John's team the same way as I look at Greg's team, where it can upset someone, it can provide an upset and kill a giant. John's team can do that, but when it goes down to natural order, he's a very, very good mid-table team, and it's unfortunate that he's just not at that.
Do you know what I was hoping for? I was hoping you was going to tell us how you won the match, but you want to keep talking about my team. That's it's what I expect from you.
Oh no, I can.
Finish. What did you think of the game?
I actually thought it was a great game between the two. Honestly, that was one to watch. I thought is in terms of, but in honesty, both of you got some excellent players throughout, and when you balanced off the tactics between who's playing up front in midfield, etc., it was a very strategic game, and I think just Sham literally just edged it over.
Is that when you lent him Aubameyang for that game, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and Mihir, how about yourself? You also lent Sham some players to play against me. How did you feel that game went?
Well, I actually lent Sham Alonso, and he gave Van Dijk the other way, and if you didn't check, Van Dijk got double Alonso's points, so I think I did you a bit of favour there, John.
See.
Yeah. That is also true as well. No, keep talking, John.
So we've got a lot of games to get through. So the next game we want to talk about is Greg's game against Binesh.
Wow.
Quite a low-scoring game.
It's close. It's down the wire, right?
You scored. The game 45 in total for the game, and you scored 48 just by yourself. So you beat Greg and I single-handedly, John. But this was a surprise because this was just literally a no-show for Greg, right? I mean, the fact that there was injuries, there's a few that weren't playing, and no waivers. I think Greg wasn't too fussed about whether he won or lost this game. So I thought he threw in the towel quite early. Looked at the fixtures, he had 8 points and half his team's played. I thought, well, just need Townsend to perform, and he does.
I wonder how he managed it. So he's got 11 outfield players, 4 on the bench, including the goalkeeper, and he managed to score 10 points.
10 points. That is the lowest, isn't it? That's actually the lowest.
I mean, he's going through a struggle right now. He's got players that it's risky to farm out because they're going to play another game, or they're going to play other games or other fixtures. It was just that particular game, and then also I feel like he dropped the ball a little bit in terms of his formation, who he was going to pick. I mean, I don't know why you would leave Reus on playing against Arsenal and not put Joe Hart on. Granted, Joe also left in took in 2 goals, so he only got the 3 points, but you knew he was going to get something. Vinagre is another opportunity. Plays the same way as Johnny as well. So he missed out there. He was just very unfortunate. I mean, Morata's just like dropped in form. Mahrez is hit or miss, and that is the problem with Greg's team. It either rises to fame and it kills off a champion and kills off a leader, or they really do struggle and fall off the cliff. Really.
To finish 35 points, that's quite strong for you.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I had a clause with Dan to say if I won 2 in a row, I'd have to give back Willian or Giroud as part of a conditional agreement on a transfer. However, if I lent him a player, that would have been reversed. However, that deal came in much later, and I've already handed out a load of players. So I've given out Rudiger and David Silva, I think, to Mahir. I'll give Aubameyang to Sham. And I think I'll give out one more player. I think it was Chilwell over to Dan. So I literally, for me, I just thought to myself, I'll lose, I don't care. But the fact that team performed in the way it did was a surprise to me. Anyway, at 35, if you look at 4 Tottenham players, Mooney got a red card, probably a no-show for a few of these, but pulled it off. That's quite a surprise for me.
Yeah. Do you think it was more the fact that you were just very fortunate to play against Greg, who just didn't turn up, then your team doing well enough to win?
Yeah, for me, I'd written off the game to say I had a loss. So I was enjoying the match against Sham and John. That was my entertainment for the weekend. But hey, to win a game as well was a bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to another tough game, high-scoring game between Abu and Nicholas. Abu scoring 45 points, which on an average week would be pretty well against most teams.
Yep.
But he faced a very strong Nicholas team who broke a record and took it by 67 points to 45.
This was the highlight of this round, of this game week anyway for me. I mean, one versus two, it's never going to get any better than that really, and it really showed. Abu is actually making some really good changes. I like how he's managing to change his team when he's got such a disadvantage when it comes to waivers. So he picks off on the farms. His tried and tested players are coming back now, back into form. Eriksen doesn't have that nerve issue. It seems that's all corrected, and he's now performing, playing really well, and Kane also as well. It just seems like an easier formation for Spurs when you have Eriksen, Dele Alli, and Son in the middle, and then feeding into Kane. It just seems that that formation works for Spurs, and it's working for Abu. But yeah, like you said, it's unfortunate that he was up against Nicholas. Nicholas, by far the best team in the league. It's just doing really well, really taking advantage of the Fraser-Wilson pairing. And he got lucky with, not got lucky with Maddison. We all knew Maddison was a very good talented player. Playing amazingly well.
Yeah, it's another one that was predicted, all in favour of Nick taking that one. Not to say that Abu's a bad team, and I actually want to take some words back that I said. I thought that Abu's team was on a downward spiral, but I wouldn't write them off just yet.
Yeah.
Definitely still a strong side in this league.
Definitely fire in that belly.
Yeah.
I think about Nicholas' team, what he's got combinations of Maddison, Vardy, Fraser, Wilson, Anderson, Hernandez. So if they do fire, he gets points from both of them. I think what he's done well there is the combinations he's got. So that's what's getting him the high points.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so moving on to the next game, which was Mahir versus James. Our podcast last week predicted that one, a split decision, 2 in favour of Mahir, and I actually went for James to take that one. But the laughing stock that James's team could only achieve 21 points. How did you take that one there, Mahir?
Well, John, you might want to listen to the podcast again because you said you predicted me to win that one.
Oh, John.
Oh no! Got some mistaken stats right here. But that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Do you know what? I'll take you at your word.
So 3 in favour from here.
Yeah. So let's hear what you've got to say, Mahir, about the game.
No, it was a good win, much needed win after 3 losses in a row. But I thought it would be comfortable as James had really tough fixtures. The Fulham players, Everton players were away at Chelsea and Liverpool, and thanks to Benesh for Rudiger, Ed for Bernardo, and Sham for Van Dijk getting the bulk of my points. So that was the loans that really won it for me.
Yeah, between them, you managed to get 27 points. So some good loan working right there. Good dealings. Impressive.
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, that was well thought out transfers, like loan deals actually as well.
Yeah, I think we need to get James on the podcast to explain what's going on with his team.
Yeah.
At some point soon. Sham, any views on that game?
Mahir played amazingly well. I mean, like I said, he done really well with his loans. Mahir is a great analyst to the game, and how he can run with the fixtures and understand what's to come in the next 3 or 4 game weeks, and prepare his team not just for the next game week, but 3 or 4 game weeks ahead as well. So it looks like it's going well for him, and Mahir, did you ever think you were going to get so lucky with Fabianski with his clean sheets and the amount of the point save he's got? Because Fabianski is now the only goalkeeper with the most amount of points, just based on his saves, than any other goalkeeper. So, which is very impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, his stats from last season, he was also the best shot stopper, so that's why I thought I'd go for him this season. I mean, Czech was my number 1 at the start, but then he got dropped, so Fabianski's the only one I can really play. And yeah, he's going well. He saved the penalty a couple of days ago, so yeah, he's getting the point, so can't complain.
Yeah.
And West Ham have a good run of fixtures as well, so hopefully he can keep them coming.
Yeah. Cool. And how are you dealing with the player sacrifices now? Is that now not a burden, or is it still an issue that you have to face every game week?
It's getting better, but I mean, still playing with 2 subs, and my subs aren't great. So and the farm hasn't been too great. I don't get 5th or 6th right to the farm, so it's a bit difficult. But it's getting better than it was at the start. So can't complain too much.
Yeah.
Okay, and the final game of game week 14 was Dan versus Ed.
Ooh.
Very close match.
Very close match.
Only 3 points in it.
Wow.
We both, myself, Dan and Abu, all went in favour of Dan taking that game, and Dan did come through, but only by 3 points.
Luckily, my loan paid off. Chilwell there on that one. But yeah, that was a very tight game overall. I think it ended up being on the last overall match played on. I think it was on that day, wasn't it? That was going to cover up whether they win or not.
-3 from the Tongan, which offset in the end.
Yeah. The -3. So the sending off, really did push it into Dan's favour, and I'm sure I think Dan mentioned in his media comments that he owes Vertonghen and Bear. It's tough to have Arsenal and Spurs players in a team on a derby. Unless they're forwards, even the midfielders get hit with conceding goals, but it's tough there. Mustafi got nothing for Ed, which normally Mustafi's the only consistent Arsenal defender into centre back anyway.
Ed got rid of Murray as well, right?
Yeah, he got Murray. It was part of a forfeit that he had to take. due to poor outside activities. So as part of his forfeit, he had to send Murray to the farm. But I think he's picked him up for the next week in game week 15. But yeah, it's surprising for Dan because he's got a very good team. So I was surprised that he managed to only get 27. Because looking at the team with Otamendi and Laporte playing 80 to 90 minutes.
He brought Laporte in, didn't he? This week?
Yeah,
he actually
yeah.
did quite a big transfer with Greg to lure him in.
Yeah.
He got Sanchez, he got a few onto the farm.
Sure, yeah.
But then you could gain 2 points on that round with him. So
I guess that's a good thing or the bad thing, however you look on it, about head-to-head. Dan's got a win there with 27 points. Somehow he's managed to get 3 points with 27 points. So.
But he's doing better than he did last season, where last season he had the most amount of points-wise to get him up to, I think, 3rd or 2nd place, and he was yet 7th or 8th in the league. And this is head-to-head. This is the formation of the games. Can't really complain about it. This is how people have to win. You play the man, not the person, not the points.
Yeah.
And Dan is understanding that, and he's doing very well at that.
I feel the pain that Dan went through last season if he was scoring so highly. But
yeah, he was. Points wise, he had enough points to get to 2nd place.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is not what the game is about.
Exactly.
The game is head to head. These are battles, and you may win against the mouse by a massive amount, but doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything. It's only 3 points.
Yeah.
So I think I've got the 3rd lowest point scoring, but higher amongst, probably higher than yourself.
Yeah.
He's probably much higher on points.
Yeah.
So
you're not doing too well in the league though. So that's it's not exactly.
Doing okay.
It's not exactly the same.
He's higher than you, right?
It's not doing well though, is he?
So what are you doing? So how would you?
Okay, so get on to game week 15. So very tough one. Everybody in the league playing 3 days later. It's very tough. There was a lot of rotations this week. Injuries.
Quite significant.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So game week 15, Sham took on Dan.
Sham, were you sweating on this one at any stage?
So I'll be honest. I mean, like Dan, we played last time, and that was the creation of the what we call the Frankenstein team, which he got in 6 loans. I think it was 5 or 6 loans to beat me. And I didn't know if he was going to do it again or not, but my only concern was winning the round. I didn't care if I lost against Dan. It was just my main focus was to stay close with Nicholas and keep the points difference between us below 38 points. So in my eyes, I just needed to get more than 30 to 35 points, and then I knew I was through, because then that would need Nicholas to get 70 points. That was where my main focus was. I didn't really play Dan, as a normal head-to-head, how I normally go into head-to-heads. But I got very lucky. I mean, it was unfortunate that Liverpool couldn't keep a clean sheet. But Miljovic, thanks to Binesh, an old love, because he was one of my main key players last season to get me out of bottom place, and Jimenez as well, doing really well, and getting on the assist board. It's surprising because Jimenez over the last 5 game weeks has scored more than Callum Wilson, but he's been under the radar. Amongst other people looking at Callum Wilson and thinking he's an amazing player, and I'm not saying that he's not, but just Jimenez getting in those constant points, he's getting me those wins, and this gave me the round 3 championship. I'm very happy. Thank you very much.
That's a good achievement. That's 40 wins, right the way through.
It was a battle all the way through, and a win against Abu, a win against Binesh, a win against Mihir, a win against John, and a win against Dan. It's one of the toughest fixtures I've ever had. All the managers I've played have been very tough to play against, and I've deserved every win. This win does feel good. It does feel good.
It's good result. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Your team is actually looking very strong.
Mm.
You know, if you look at Hazard and then you know Salah, you know, although out on loan, your team's actually looking very strong. I think that's title competitive team there at the moment.
I hope so. I mean, the problem I have is Nicholas is just so good, and I keep losing against him. He keeps picking up wins. It's gonna be a tight battle between myself, Nicholas, and Abu. I feel one person is gonna jump into that top three, be it Binesh or Meher. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be more than that. And but yeah, no, I'm very lucky with my squad. My players are playing amazingly well.
I think once KDB comes on,
I do have
fit,
KDB.
I think that midfield is probably the deadliest midfield out there at the moment, right?
So I've always had a very good midfield, and I tried getting in strikers, but people are overvaluating their strikers, and it's hard on the market. So I put my faith in Jimenez and Rashford, and if you look at the history, they're doing very well compared to other strikers. And yeah, like you said, my three midfield consists of De Bruyne, Hazard, and Salah. That will strike fear in any league manager's team.
Just one question from me, and it's only around this game. What was more important, winning a round or keeping up with the league leaders?
Winning the round.
Winning the round.
Winning the round, 100%. I mean, I knew I was too far away to win the league. Nicholas is just he's on another level right now in terms of his performance, and but yeah, for me, I wanted that trophy. I wanted that round trophy, and I didn't care about winning against Dan. I just got very lucky against Dan. Dan is not a 29-point player. He is in the 40s if you look back, and his A-game team should have beaten me. I was just very lucky with the fixtures and the midweek game, and like you said earlier, the short rollover between game week 14 and 15.
Yeah, so Dan also picked up a win within himself, taking the Merga Cup.
Merga Cup, yeah.
So congratulations to Dan. I'm pretty sure if he was here and I asked him what would have been more important, getting the win over Sham or sealing that cup final game against Nicholas, I'm pretty sure he would have gone with that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Dan's got words of his own that he would like to.
The bonus was that Rondon scored as well.
There you go.
See. So he's great again, and I think they feel, winning it, he's fulfilled the prophecy of getting Rondon great again.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
9 points and 3 bonus points.
Yeah, no, he's done well. Yeah. Dan's on a mission to get every single player playing for his team at least once. I mean, he's built great teams and won some amazing points and amazing games, and then he's like sold them all to rebuild his team again. So he's on a mission, and let's see where that journey goes. Meher, anything else you want to say about this game?
No, I mean, I think on Tuesday night, obviously Laporte came on for Dan, Aguero injured. I think it was a good win for Sham, a good way for them getting in Milivojevic.
Okay, on to the second game, which was Ed's Flying Pigs against Meher's Carroll.
Oh, 37-34 for Ed. Wow, that's
painful. I mean, what an amazing win by Ed. That is a great upset. I don't think anyone expected that.
He brought on Murray. He took back Murray.
Yeah, he took back Murray and he scores. He gets 7 points. Murray is another one that's under the radar, but getting in really good points for him. And he's doing the best he possibly can to get out of bottom place. I think he's managed that. So Greg is now sitting in 10th place, I believe. And 5th in the round.
He's moved up.
So this win for Ed has got him out of potential forfeits for both round and league. So he's done really well.
Yeah.
Well done to him. He's now moved up to 7th place above John's team,
with a 3-point
James
margin.
and Greg. Yeah, with a 3-point margin. So very impressive.
Over 100-point difference between the two as well.
And Mahir. So where did it all go wrong then?
Mahir, what happened?
Well, I think this was probably my toughest loss to take of the whole season. Well done, Ted, but the manner in which I lost is what's more frustrating. I mean, the Corey bundling one over the line against City, who were cruising for 90 minutes. Mustafi scoring that goal yesterday that De Gea made a howler on, and then Murray scoring a penalty against 10-man Brighton scoring a penalty, and then Murray going off injured after half an hour, somehow getting 2 bonus points. That was really tough to take, and a lot of my players, the big guns did turn up. Alonso, Bellerin getting blanked. Mane didn't even play, thanks to that John. Sigurdsson not doing anything. So this was really tough to take. And look, Fabianski conceded in the last minute, literally the last kick of the game, which would have got the 4-point clean sheet. But well done, Ted. And the worst part is he probably didn't even realise he won because he was hungover last night. So
He's still missing.
He's still missing in action. Yeah, we're still we're keeping the calls out to all the pubs in Wembley to see if anyone can find him. It's very unfortunate for you, Mahir. You can definitely feel the pain. I think we've all been in that same situation, losing by a handful of points, and knowing that there's plenty of people on the farm that could have made that difference. But is there anything you could do? Do you think this is just a one-off, or are you going to change things? Perhaps basically try loaning in not an injured player, or something. I don't know. Where do you see yourself changing, or changing the team to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Well, on the Mane deal, there was obviously a deal I did with John. I gave him Sigurdsson the previous game, and I was trying to get a deal and a clause saying for compensation if there's an injury, but John wanted to rush the deal too much. He was pretty forceful, so I just went along with it, and it was just one of those things. But
it's definitely.
Okay. It's a good thing that I'm here to defend myself, and you're not just going to say things behind my back, and let Binesh and Sham chime in as well. So I can explain my side of things. If you do a loan deal, and the player becomes injured before the game week match, sure, I would have given him back. But because there was only a few days between the loan and the game taking place, we didn't see the injury. So he sits in your squad throughout the game week injured. There's nothing I can do about that.
No, I disagree. I think that's very poor sportsmanship. If you look at James and Dan, how they handled the De Bruyne and Keita, James, in all fairness, understood that he gave out a injured player and was happy to take him back, and it just shows sportsmanship. I understand this league is based around lies, deceitfulness, or being deceiving on other players, or bribing, but when it comes down to injured players, you don't loan out an injured player, regardless of whether you thought or you knew they were going to be injured. If you're loaning out a player when he gave you Sigurdsson and you had Sigurdsson in your team and he was injured, would you not expect the same thing? Genuinely.
If he lends me a fit and healthy player who becomes injured, if there's enough time for me to take the player back, I'll take the player back. If he sits in the squad for a game week,
I think you're putting way too many complications or
there's no complications at all.
Rules in here.
Yeah,
I think it's very fair.
My view is building relationships with other managers. That if you're going through a hard time, they'll help you out, and if you're doing well, you can help them. Do you see what I mean? So building these relationships always works, and works in your friends, especially when it's head to head. If you're going to try and win, I think it's key that you keep a good.
I agree. I completely agree. I think Mahir deserves another chance at Mane or any other player that he chooses because he helps you.
But that would be down to goodwill, not rules of the league.
But then Mahir might not do deals again.
Okay.
So are we saying on the podcast you don't have any goodwill?
Okay, that would be down to goodwill and not rules of the league. So I don't need to be told what to do.
No, you're right.
So let's move on to the next.
Right?
Let's move on to the next game.
I just want to clarify. So are you saying here that you've got no goodwill, that no manager can trust you?
Okay, if you want to look through my trades, I can assure you that every manager that I have traded with would say I have goodwill.
Mihir, do you agree right now?
Well, we'll see what the compensation is. I mean, looking at it, even if I did have a fit Mane, he might not have even started. I mean, Liverpool did start around Firmino last night, so
Appreciate that,
he might not have played. So
appreciate that.
it just depends.
Yeah, it depends on the compensation. So let's leave this for another time and see how
for the next round.
giving John is in game week 16.
Okay, so next game up was James versus Abu. James scored pretty poorly with 18, not the worst for the game week, but we'll come on to that shortly. Scoring 18 points, and Abu took that with a massive 43 points. Great performance. Kane got back on the scoring sheet. And yeah, James just didn't really compete, did he?
No. Red card for Duffy. You know, Loftus-Cheek got brought in most of his points. Pretty much over 50% of his points came from Loftus-Cheek. Injuries. It looks like he's a bit disorganised. He's got Ings as his first sub. You know, Nautovic. It looks like he didn't even change his squad before the particular game, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I think he might use the excuse that he's on the other side of the world, so he couldn't use
like
the.
He's in another planet at the moment, right?
It's unfortunate. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. He decided to instruct a delegate that doesn't like football, doesn't want to attend, doesn't want to, or wasn't allowed to make any changes to the team. He still wanted to keep this as his team. And he's struggling with long distance relationships. We all know it doesn't work, and we can see it here. Ericsson, Kane did really well for Abu. Sane as well, another one that's really picking up on form, really benefiting off Mendy being off injured and recovering from surgery. And Sane is just gonna go on form like he did last season. I just don't see him stopping anytime soon. Even with KDB coming in, I don't think it will take Sane's, Sterling's positions, potentially taking Silva's positions in certain game weeks for formations. Sane, I feel like he's a core member of Man City's team alongside Raheem Sterling.
And the Ericsson-Kane combo is actually working out really well for him at the moment.
Really
as well.
is, yeah.
That's really been
It's surprising these combos seem to work amazingly well. I mean, look at Nicholas. He's dominating in that form where basically he's got Fraser Wilson and Maddison and Vardy, and now he's got Ian Nacho as well. So he's got that trio up front. As Mihir mentioned earlier, he's brought in West Ham as well. So Felipe Anderson and Chicharito. So great partnerships, and Abu is.
If it works well, it wins you the game, I think.
Exactly.
As we've seen, right, in this situation. So.
And Abu's won it as well. Like if you look at Patricio and Doherty, he had him in straight after round 5, and from round 5 to round 10, he dominated with those pairings and the Spurs pairings as well.
Personally, I won't write James off. I think that it was a bad time for him. A bit of rotation, stopping some of his players from playing. He'll be back stronger in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I hope so.
Shall we move on?
Yep.
Okay, so the next game was Nicholas versus Greg.
Wow.
Nicholas on great form at the moment. Another 60 plus point game. Didn't quite achieve the heights of last week when he got 67, but 65 points
I don't think he has a problem.
It's still a great score line to have. And Greg put up a great fight with 45 points. So Greg, who we've seen fluctuate with good performances and bad performances.
Bounced back well from his 10 points from last game week.
Exactly.
If he'd played anybody else, he would have won the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Nick, look at this. 4 of his 5 midfielders scoring. Plus bonus points, etc. Look at that. That's incredible. I think his squad's looking very good. He's got a few injuries probably lined up. Maybe a few rotations that might take place on Saturday. So things he might probably be resolving. But that is a cracking game week.
I think
for
Nick,
him, Fraser. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Nick's done some great work picking up players. Felipe Anderson. sticking by Martial. I don't know who would have predicted Fraser would have had the season that he's had this season. It's just showing the faith in Fraser.
Yeah.
Was he picked up in the draft? Does anybody know?
I don't think he was picked up in the
No.
draft.
No,
I think
so-
he was game week 3 or game week 4.
Okay. So yeah, just heaping praise on Nicholas and his team. And
Yeah.
any words, Mihir? You've been a bit quiet on the call.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the combos earlier, but they're coming from mid-table team, so I think he's had a few good weeks, but I think he's going to be found out quite soon, and I can't see him lasting at the top of the league for long, but he has been up some classy stuff, so I wouldn't put it past him to backstab the manager's business.
There is going to be a problem later on where I know in the next 5 Bournemouth have got not a very good run, nor has Leicester. Spurs have a very good run, so you know I'm sure he's hoping that he'll keep Trippier and Son movement going well, and West Ham are doing well on formations or fixtures going ahead as well. But yeah, the Bournemouth and Leicester fixtures, they're not going to be good. They've got very high difficulty rating, so yeah, we'll see if he can carry on this form.
So not to leave Greg out of this, I think Greg did pretty well, scoring 45 points.
Liverpool really.
Liverpool game.
Shaqiri and Milner really pulling off a good number of points from him. Mahrez now firing up, so he bounced back from that for sure. Still not sure about his front 2 forwards. Still not Morata's still not firing on all cylinders yet. Not sure how it's gonna pan out overall long term, especially the next couple of game weeks. But a few transfers in there might resolve them. But,
Showing faith in his defence was Smalling, Alderweireld. Only picking up 4 points from his defence is probably what might be letting him down.
yeah, he's stuck to his United players. Yeah, for Young and Smalling, interestingly, you know,
It is a problem in fantasy. Like, you know, we all have you know, support for our teams, our Premier League teams, and you got to put that support to the side and, you know, come back with a clear head and, you know, realise that, you know, United are a struggling team. Only had 1 clean sheet in the season. They keep letting in goals. Jose is just not sure on his defence and what back line he's going to use. So yeah, no, that is an issue. But then, do you really want to get rid of him? What can he get in? Yeah, it just comes down to Greg's you know, passion to, you know, move up a place. Really, does he want to get rid of United and risk jumping on board of a Brighton defender or a Crystal Palace defender? But yeah, no, like you mentioned, he's done well with his Liverpool midfielders, the differentials. Shaqiri and Milner, I've always liked Milner. I think he's a great underrated player for Liverpool. Always gets penalties, but his balls in, his plays, his runs in the midfield, and his crosses as well. Last season he dominated. He got the most amount of crosses, successful crosses in the season, and I think he's going to do the same this season as well. And Mahrez, I'm not so sure. It's hard to analyse what Pep's doing and how he runs his players and how he sets the formation up and the team stats. But yeah, he played today and played amazingly well.
Yeah. So on to the final game of game week 15. It's Binesh versus my team. Very low scoring game. Binesh took it 29 points to 17. How did you see that one, Binesh? Happy with your win?
I was happy with the win overall. There was a few touching points where I think as Lacazette came on and goals given, etc., there was a few you know, drips of sweat, you know, thinking that I might flunk this. But when I checked the results, you know, debut, you know, earlier in the week for the Tuesday fixtures, I was looking quite favourable considering, you know, no clean sheets, etc. But you know, a win's a win. I can't say it was a good win for me. I could have done with more points overall. I'm just disappointed. The loan deals is the people that brought in the most points were Carlson and Salah, bringing the 14. Otherwise, we had a pretty much average team overall. But it's a good game, John. But I guess victory's a victory. But I was surprised. I was expecting you to probably perform a lot better.
So this is my worst performance of the season, and it's understandable because all of the best teams rotated their best players, and that affects my team because my team holds the best players. Yeah. So a lot of my players weren't playing, didn't get the full 90 minutes, didn't get the opportunity to shine.
I would have expected to mitigate that situation, knowing there's a rotation, to bring in other blood in there to balance that off, right?
Okay, what do you want me to do? Start trading with your team?
Well, we already have traded, haven't we? So it's good.
No, because if you want me to bring in less talented players,
that means
I need to trade with your team.
To look through as well.
Have you traded on the farm? Like, have you picked up waivers?
Do you know what? The stats are there for everybody to see. The podcast isn't the time for me to start talking about my farm players.
No, what I'm saying is that you are making changes, and if you are making changes, then you know that your team needs to adapt, right? And to be the best team, in the league, you have to adapt to every head-to-head. And if you choose not to, then that's your own problem. But how did it feel playing Aubameyang 2 game weeks in a row? That must have hurt.
It's disgusting. I don't know where to start with it. It hurts me to my stomach. I wanted to see Arsenal get the win yesterday, but
part of it was whether Aubameyang would score would be
Is that the same for the North London derby as well? Were you the only one not cheering when Aubameyang banged in that goal?
I thought we were just talking about game week 15 right now.
Oh
so,
no, I'm just asking.
Yeah, it was a great game finish, and well done to you for getting the 3 points.
Oh, no, thank you.
Terrible performance from myself. On to the next one, I guess.
I definitely think it's short term. I mean, this is not like a identification of basically where your team is and how many points your team can get. Chelsea had a poor run, which is very unlikely. You've been doing well with your Bournemouth defenders, and they struggled. Like you said, Sterling was just not played. These are all rare circumstances, going into the weekend.
I think everyone was rooting for a clean sheet for Bournemouth, knowing the fixture against Huddersfield. I think I picked up Francis as well. Yeah. To think, hang on, if I can stand myself. Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. But I think.
No, it's just unfortunate. It's not basically an identifier of basically where the amount of points. I don't think I've ever seen you under 20 points.
Yeah, I think he's
going back.
That's what concerns last
around
game with
40, 50. So it's a rare moment in time.
So maybe game win around 4 can't bring it on. As a new objective to go for gold, get out that bottom pack. There's 15 points between the 3 bottom.
Well, he said he was going to go top of the league in round 2, right? And we're now into round 4, and he's dropped down places and not 9 places. So.
Any comments, Mihir?
I think he just got unlucky with the fixtures. Because obviously he had the star players that we mentioned, Sterling, Lacazette. But Dinesh, your trades won it for you, and that's where it all went wrong for John, I think.
Okay, so to wrap up, we're going to make some predictions for game week 16. Quick fire round.
Round 4.
Who you predicting to win and why? So starting with the first game is Greg versus Sham. I'll kick things off, and I will say Sham, for the reason being that his team's stronger. Greg has the opportunity to take this. He's been playing strongly, scoring strongly in the past few weeks, but I think Sham's got what it takes to beat Greg on any given day. I'm gonna go with Sham.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Sham as well. I think he's got no probably loans out of this game. He's probably got a stronger squad available to him, and he won the last round. He's on a roll. He's 5 game weeks running. Yeah. So it could be his 6th. I think Greg, and he's got to do some drastic changes for him to turn this around. But I think it's Sham win.
I mean, I'd say the same, but I mean, looking at my team. 4 of my Liverpool players play Bournemouth away. It's hard to keep a clean sheet on their ground. and then I've got Man City playing Chelsea. So most of my team is I've got people in my team that's playing each other, but I think I still have enough to beat Craig.
Mihir?
Yeah, I'm going to go Sham as well. I think he's got enough, but I think it'll be closer than we think. I don't think it'll, as Sham mentioned, because of the fixtures. But yeah, still going to go Sham.
Okay, next game up is Abu versus the best team in the league. Again, I'll kick things off.
Nicholas. I'm looking at something different. I can't see Nicholas.
Personally, I would always back myself, but Abu has a very strong team. And what I've noticed in the past few weeks is that whenever teams are playing me, they seem to get loans in that change the course and the direction of the game. So just going to see who Abu can bring in and who can up to try and upset me. So in this case, I'll probably go with Abu on this one.
Oh, interesting. In honest perspective, I'm actually reading. I think you're going to pull this one off, John. There's not. I don't think there's many people that trade with Abu overall. I've not traded with Abu for quite a while, since his Jesus days, and I think with your players that have been rested yesterday, I think they'll all be firing on 4 cylinders on Saturday. So I reckon you'll bounce back with a victory on this one.
I think this game is going to be very close. With Sterling rested, it's going to be guaranteed that he's going to play this game week.
Facing Chelsea.
What's that?
Facing Chelsea.
Sterling?
Yeah.
But then you've got Chelsea players on your side as well.
Yeah.
So you've got both.
So
best of both.
you've got both. Yeah. So I mean, to get one to win, the others will need to sacrifice. So if Chelsea score that, annihilates the Edison clean sheet. So I think it's going to be very, very close, but I think Abu's just going to pip it because the Spurs against Leicester, Spurs naturally do better and do well, and Wolves as well playing Newcastle, although away. I think he can muster a win, and Ericsson, in this case Patricio and Doherty, I think they're going to come back with at least a couple of points or enough to win.
Okay, so
Abu.
Abu, so there's 2 in favour of Abu, and Mihir?
I think it's going to be very, very close. It's too tough to predict. You mentioned Abu getting traded, but he's not going to. I don't think he has that relationship anymore with managers to do the trades unless he trades with Nick. I don't see Nick trading when he's playing Dan. But I think Abu picked up some good waivers. But John, I think you got the better players. Lacazette, I think he'll start now because Aubameyang's played 90 minutes. So I think you'll win, John.
Okay, so that's a split decision. 2 in favour of Abu, 2 for myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a split decision, 2 for 2, myself and Abu's game. The next game for us to predict is Mihir versus Binesh.
Oh, wow. Mid-table clash. This actually is quite a key game because there's only 2 points between me and Mihir. But I reckon Mihir, you're going to pip this, considering the fixtures that are in hand. I've got no loan deals coming in. I'll have to farm well, but I think this is going to be a victory for Mihir.
Yeah, again, I think the fixtures, not for just us, every manager's tough this week. Obviously, you have Aubameyang, but like I said, I don't know if he'll start. Even if he does come on as a sub, he does very well. So it's going to be close. It's a 6-pointer, but I have to back myself.
Are you going to have Aubameyang this week, or are you pimping him out again?
I'm not sure yet. He might be going to Abu.
Sounds about right.
No, he's staying with me, I think.
Send him to Abu.
There's something wrong with you, Shat. I'm telling you.
Hey, listen, you made a mistake selling him. You could have got a lot better players than.
You got Mane.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
personally, I think Mihir's going to take this one for reasons that are, just the team. I think his team's stronger. I think that Mihir's been trading. He might get some goodwill this week. Who knows when he might call it in? I don't know. We'd have to look at things. But I'm going to go with Mihir on this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close again, but I think Mihir losing against Ed has got fire burning now, and he wants that win back, and unfortunately it's gonna be against Binesh. So as much as I want my fellow league commissioner going up in the league, I just can't see it happening this time.
It's all in favour of me here.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is Dan versus Nick. Nick coming off the back of 2 60+ wins. Dan, a lot of lowish. I think he won by 3 points, scoring 27 points, I believe it was last week. And the week before was quite a low score. I'm going to go with Nick. Just jump in there and say Nick. Dan, I did offer him a great deal. Hope he's listening to this, but he declined it. So
it wasn't a great deal then. I mean, it really wasn't.
Maybe,
a person that's
maybe he just doesn't want to trade with me.
Well, a person that's made 128 transactions in 15 game weeks. You'd think he'd know how to do a deal.
Let's
right?
look about how many managers he's done all of those 100 and odd trades with.
Yeah, just not you, but that's because you overvalue your team. And
I've actually done a trade with Dan.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, I have seen that, and then you've got the player back, right? Or I think he sent one to the farm, or gave it to Binesh.
You know what? I thought we were doing predictions, but it seems more shots at John.
You wanted to keep talking.
It seems more shots at John.
But,
anyway, so what do you think about the game then, in terms of your prediction?
See, as much as I think Nicholas has got the best team in the league, he is going to struggle now with the constant run of fixtures. Bournemouth can't keep relying on Fraser and Wilson to play every 4 days or every 3 days. They played on the weekend, they played midweek, and they've got to play again, and now they've got to play against Liverpool. I just don't. I feel tiredness is going to creep in. It's going to creep in at one point, and I think it's going to be this weekend. I'm actually going to say Dan. I think Dan could squeeze a victory, but I think it will be close. It will be a close 35-pointer.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a close game overall, but I'm going to say Nick on this one purely because he does farm quite well as well. I know Dan does as well, but I think on this time he's going to rotate his team slightly more swayed to playing favourable for Nick, but I think especially with Aguero, Man City playing Chelsea, I think it's not that favourable for Dan in terms of his key players, Laporte, etc. So I think Nick's going to pip this one by probably I'd say 5 points or so, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fixtures slightly suit Dan. Most of Nick's teams play against each other. He's also got Trippier and Marshall now doubtful. That's two big blows. But he has got Bellerin coming in. He's at home to Huddersfield, so he was my number one player this week. I had to give him away, unfortunately. But I'm going to go down just.
Wow.
2-2.
Okay. And very quickly, the final game is Ed versus James.
Wow.
Ed off the back of his win that took him off the bottom. James
really needs to win this one. They really need to start so the bottom six. So John, Ed, James, Greg. They really need to start realising that they're not going to be league winners, and they have to work on a relegation battle. And realise that these are the games that they have to win. And that's the same for Ed and James. It's a 6-pointer for them, definitely. James really needs to win this one to claw up and put John in an awful position. But I mean,
hold on, is this Ed versus James?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're in the same boat, right? So. We'll see how it works. I mean, both teams really struggle with trying to do a trade, trying to get some deals in. Ed's lucky to be onshore, so hopefully he can try and manage or try and get Aubameyang or get someone in, right, to help out.
Oh no, save Aubameyang for when he plays me.
Someone's a little bit bitter.
So who's your prediction?
Oh, sorry.
Too busy talking about me.
Talking. Well, you need to understand where your team is really. So, James. And I could have spoke more about Aubameyang. How do you feel about Aubameyang anyway, banging those goals against North London Derby?
Who do you predict will win this game then?
I think Eds will take this pretty comfortably. Fixtures suit him massively, and also if he does win, I think he's close to 6. So he's had a really good round. He got the lowest points overall, but he actually finished 3rd in the round or something, which is amazing. Wow. I think Ed comfortably.
I'm going to go with Ed as well. I think James's team is struggling. It seemed like a bit of a cry for help when he said that he's struggling to make trades from across the world. So unless he picks up the phone or does something about it, it's just going to go in that same direction. So I'm going to go with Ed on this one.
I'm going to definitely go with Ed. I think it's going to be quite a clean victory. Looking at James's team, he's got Arnautovic out, Danny Ings still injured, Duffy got red card. He's hardly got a full team already as it is, and he's got a farm pretty well. Farm's quite, not great stuff out there at the moment. I think Ed's got Murray now, if he's fully fit. So I think it's a clean victory for Ed on this one.
Yeah, these guys definitely need to risk it because being at bottom place, you can't be holding on to players. You have to when you're top of the table.
If it means dropping an excellent player for 2 weak players, in the right positions,
I think it definitely has to be done. They have to look at long term how they make the change. That's what I did in last season in January. I realised that I was holding on to players like Rashford, Jesus, and those sort of players, and realised that it wasn't meant to be, and you had to get rid of them and rebuild every team for every game week. And anyone that's in that lower table spot, they should be doing that now.
Okay, so to wrap things up for game week 15, great win for the round for Sham.
Well done, Sham.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great. Seriously, how did it feel? Basically, Aubameyang winning North London Derby and winning it for me in 14.
A great win on the cup for Dan.
Wow, Dan. Mega cup.
Yeah. Great signings. Great teams being built.
Yeah,
I would like to personally, on behalf of everybody in the league, thank the league commissioners for the away day yesterday. It was really good. So appreciation shown there. Yeah. What have we got next week? We have.
Next week we have a outside ceremonial Christmas away day, but which most of the managers will be there. But the next ceremony, because of Christmas breaks and for everyone to enjoy Christmas away from work and away from the office, we're going to join up round 4 and round 5 together at the end of January. So when things are better, the Christmas drought has disappeared, and we'll do something big and we'll do something fun for everyone. But I agree John's points. This league is getting harder and harder. I think every single manager is really stepping up, except for James. Everyone's stepping up, and there's no easy game in this league, and that is testament to everyone's effort in this league to make this league great.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
The only thing I would like to say is everybody look out for the rota for the podcast to come through within a week or so, and good luck. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Until next week, goodbye.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Bye.